This is a topic about the narcissist that a lot of people don't really talk about, and I just want to address that today. Having compassion and empathy for the narcissist is really, really scary. It's a really dangerous thing. If you know that you're really, really messing with a narcissist and you're dealing with a narcissist, move accordingly. Do not have pity. Do not have empathy. Do not feel sorry for them because they don't have pity for you. They don't have empathy for you and they will never feel sorry for you. That narcissist will throw you under the bus every chance they get. That narcissist is plotting against you every single day. Here you are, a good person, a wonderful person. You want to see the good in everybody. The worst person to do this with is a narcissist. And I had to learn this the right way. Or, I'm sorry, I had to learn this the wrong way. What am I trying to say? The hard way. I had to learn this the hard way. This is a very, very serious topic. And especially when it comes to certain communities, like the African community where I'm from, the narcissist can be a woman beater. He can beat that woman to a bloody pulp. And the family will tell her to forgive him, go back home and be with her husband because it is her husband and it is for thick and thin or whatever the heck they be saying. And that person, that woman, ends up unalived. This literally just happened in my city a few days ago. It literally just happened. This woman was a nurse dealing with what I'm pretty sure is a sick, psychotic, sociopath narcissist. He will beat on her. She had, or they had, four young kids. He will beat on her, lose his temper, and beat on her for no reason. And I'm pretty sure the family were telling her every time she complains, the family tells her, oh, they'll ask her things like, oh, what did you do to make him upset? What happened? What are you doing wrong? It's always her, her, her. And they'll tell her to go back home. A few, I guess, weeks ago, he beat her to the point where he broke her hip and she went to the hospital. This was very clear that her husband did this. Whatever fight they had that night that made him beat her and she ended up in the hospital, they kept her for a few days and sent her home, back to this loser, back to this abusive narcissist. And guess what? He was still mad about the fight that they had. He went on to beat her again. Sorry, this is going to be kind of graphic, but he beat her with a hammer to her face and unalived her. He unalived her. So this is why I say having compassion and empathy for the narcissist is very, very dangerous. I was in that situation. The narcissist, when he would do things, I would tell the family would tell me, oh, it's your man, it's your husband, blah, blah, blah. We weren't married, we were engaged, but he would tell everybody I was his wife. He would refer to me as his wife. And with, again, the African thing, it's kind of like a common law. So they call you husband and wife, even if you're not engaged. And they'll tell you, oh, it's your husband. You have to understand him. Men are like this, men are like that. And I knew something was wrong. So again, very early into that situation, I started to read about narcissists. Thank God it was around the time when the term narcissism was becoming very, very prevalent. So I started to learn about it. I started to read about it. So what I did was when it started getting really, really bad, I started to call the cops. When he would do something, I would call the cops and everybody would be so mad at me. They would make it a big deal. He put his hands on you and you call the cops? Are you trying to land him in jail? Yes. Yes, I am. Because I'm not a punching bag. I'm not a drum. So you can't beat on me and expect me to have compassion for you when you didn't have compassion for me. He would do criminal activities and I would call the cops. I was not playing. Like I said, I work way too hard. I come from a great family who suffered to get me where I am. I was not going to lose my life over a loser who didn't even value his own life. So I will call the cops and they will make you feel guilty and say, oh, are you trying to make him go to jail? Are you trying to do this and trying to do... If he doesn't want to go to jail, then be a decent person. Be a good person. It's that easy. These people, that is how they end up unaliving people because they'll do the worst things to people They'll do the worst thing to you, and you're steady trying to protect them, but they're not protecting you. If that narcissist had a better supply than you, he would leave you yesterday. If that narcissist could really unalive you and get away with it, they will do that. These people are dangerous. When you go to court with a narcissist, any evidence you have, give it to the judge. Again, this is coming from experience. Give it to the judge. Give it to the police officer. File police report. Because guess what? When push comes to shove and something horrible happens between you and that narcissist, guess who they're going to blame? You. Everybody's going to say, well, if it was that bad, how come you don't have any police report? How come you didn't get authority involved? How come you didn't do this? How come you do... When the narcissist put his hands on me and got arrested for domestic violence and was put into jail, guess who bailed him out? Yeah, I did. With a black eye, I bailed him out. Why? Because I was in that trauma bond those first 6 months before I started to do my research. That was actually the incident that opened my eyes, and I started to do my research, and I started to plan my escape. That was right after our engagement. When I called the family, guess what the family said? Oh, that's your husband. You can't let him stay in jail. You can't do this. How can you call the cops? I wasn't even the one who called the cops. It was him against the state of Georgia. It was so bad that the neighbors in the, we were at a hotel when this happened. The neighbors in the hotel called the cops. The cops came and arrested him right away. Based on the evidence and everything, he got arrested. Guess who bailed him out? Me. Because I was told by the family that that was my job, to bail him out. I was told that it was my fault that this happened. I was told that he had no criminal records, and they don't know how come with me, he all of a sudden lost his temper. I ended up finding out that this guy was a criminal. He was a jailbird. Multiple times. Way, way before me. Multiple criminal records. So the family will try to tell you to protect them. The family will try to tell you to hide their little secrets. The family will try to tell you to take it and take it and take it. But when push comes to shove, that same family will be nowhere to be found. They are going to take his side. So any evidence you have, anything that's going on, start building your case. Because as I tell you guys in my videos, these people are building cases against you and you don't even know it. The smear campaign started way long ago. All of those triangulation, the flying monkeys, they already have people out there. So when you start to see these red flags, when you start to see these things, document, document, document. Don't have pity for these people, because when the tables are turned, they will not have pity for you. And if something bad happens, you're going to be blamed, because they're going to say, how come you didn't say anything? If it was so bad, how come you didn't say anything? If he was so abusive, why did you bail him out of jail? When he was calling you out of jail, begging and crying, I can't sleep in here. I can't do this. I've never been in here. Lies. When the family were saying, oh, he's never done that before, blah, blah, blah. Lies. And then when you start to call the cops, the family are going to get mad at you. How can you do that to him? You're trying to ruin his life. You got to protect yourself. This is not a game. This is not about, oh, he loves me not. No, this is a life-threatening situation. When you're dealing with a real, true psychopathic narcissist, malignant narcissist. When you're dealing with a real narcissist, you're fighting for your life. Whether it's physically or mentally, you're fighting for your life. So any evidence you have to protect yourself. There are many, many stories where the victims does not survive. You got to be smart about this. And you got to be really, really careful. When you protect these people, you're setting yourself up for failure. It's going to come back and bite you. Follow for more.